Just before we get into this video, guys, if you want to follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, the links are here. And if you also want to support me on Patreon as well and help out my channel, that would be absolutely awesome as well. But let's get on with the video. And we are back for part 2 of the Q&A. Sorry this has taken so long, it's just that there was a lot of questions, there's other stuff in life getting in the way, and yeah, but I'm doing it now. Just before I get into this, I recently did a collab video with Nerdy Editor talking about some of the worst stories in Capaldi's era. I'll leave a link to the video in the description, so go and check out the video and go and drop him a sub over there as well. For now though, let's get on with the rest of the Q&A. Do you want to see Captain Jack in Doctor Who again and Torchwood to be on TV again? I don't know about seeing Jack in Doctor Who again because I personally prefer the Torchwood version of Jack purely because he's a much darker character and I think you have to tone that down somewhat when you bring him back into Doctor Who. But Torchwood, yeah, definitely, I'd love to see that again. Considering Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who episodes haven't been the best, are you slightly concerned for Series 11 story-wise? Yeah, definitely. I mean, when Moffat took over, it made sense because he was the best writer on the show in Russell's era. However, even though I stand by the fact that Moffat wrote some of the worst stuff in the show's history, hell bent, I don't think that there was anybody during his run that wrote better stories than him. Stuff like The 11th Hour, Day of the Doctor, The Impossible Astronaut, you know, stories like that. So there wasn't really a natural successor to take over from Moffat, and yeah, like you say, Chibnall's episodes haven't been great. You can say, well, he was a great showrunner for Broadchurch, but the problem is Broadchurch is its own thing, and it's not really similar to Doctor Who in any way, shape or form, and if you mess that up, there's no issue. But Doctor Who is a cult thing. It's not just popular, it is cult. So if you ruin that, it's going to be a hell of a lot of consequences. If you could choose any actor to play the next Doctor, who would you choose? Well, I mean, we haven't seen Jodie yet, so, you know, I don't want to talk about the next Doctor because I just want to see how she does first. If you could pick one writer to write either one episode of Doctor Who or be the new showrunner, who would you choose? Well, again, we have to see what Chibnall does, but I mean, personally, I don't really know who I would have wanted to have been showrunner. In terms of to write an episode, though, I'd love to see Charlie Brooker do some stuff, because obviously Black Mirror is great, and also Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith, because Inside Number 9 is great. Some of the stuff that they come up with for those shows I think would fit brilliantly with Doctor Who. I'd just love to see it. What's your favourite video game? Ultimate Spider-Man for the PS2 or Pokemon? Are You My Mummy? Sure. Have you seen any films by the Coen brothers or David Fincher? I probably have, but I can't think of which ones off the top of my head. Are you possibly into cinema much? Well, it depends what you mean by cinema. Like, I watch movies that I want to see. I like watching older movies, like recently I watched Logan's Run. I really want to see A Space Odyssey 2001. So I like science fiction in particular, but I'm not really a sort of art house tour de force type film guy. Have you seen any of the Arrowverse shows this year? And if so, do you think this year has been the worst since all of them have been crap? I watched the first half-ish of all of them, and yeah, you're right, they've been absolute fucking garbage this year. I've not enjoyed them. I've heard that Arrow got better, Flash got worse, Legends just meandered to a crawl, so I'm not really interested this season, to be honest. Can you do a Sylvester McCoy Doctor impression? Unlimited rice pudding. I don't know, if that was any good, let me know. I don't think it was though. What's your least favourite Sarah Jane Adventures story? I'm not a massive fan of the Mona Lisa one, if I'm being honest. I see in the background you have Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon stuff. Will you ever do any videos on those? I have done videos on them before. I did do a gaming series of Pokemon, but I sort of gave that up. It was just a bit of a nightmare to film and edit, and not many people watched them. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to do more Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff in particular, because I am kind of getting back into it at the minute with Duel Links and stuff, so if people want me to do it, then yeah, I'll probably do it. What do you do other than YouTube? Breathe, like everybody else. Favourite movie pre-1970? I can't think of a movie before 1970 off the top of my head. That's annoying. When was The Italian Job out? Was that before the 70s? Or The Poseidon Adventure? Was that before the 70s? I don't know. These are probably all 70s movies, so I don't know. But if they're 60s movies, then them. Pitch an original Dalek story. I don't know if you can really pitch an original Dalek story, because I think everything that you can possibly do with the Daleks is done. I just think you have to take what has come before and have a new spin on it. So, I don't know, but just make them scary again. Make the Doctor seem genuinely fearful of them. Or maybe see them at the height of the Time War. That could be interesting. What's your opinion on the new Tom Baker Blu-ray box set? Would you like to see more Classic Who box sets? If so, which seasons? Well, I mean, I pretty much have all the DVDs anyway, so I'm not really bothered about new box sets coming out. But in terms of what I think of the new one, I'm not sure if it's out yet at the time of recording this. It might already be, I don't know. But I've heard that it's sort of omnibus versions of the episodes and not the full things themselves, so if that's the case, then I definitely don't want to get it. I'd rather just watch each episode as it was broadcast, so parts 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 and 6 as well. I don't like them cropping them up and taking bits out. It's a bit silly to me. Who's your favourite MCU character, TV and film, ignoring the quality of their film or TV series purely based on their character? It's gotta be Iron Man. I do love me a bit of Iron Man. Do you like old TV shows from the 60s, 70s and 80s? Well, I mean, I love classic Doctor Who, so yeah. Blake Seven, that's another one. I love that. I love old comedy like Only Fools and Horses, which I've mentioned in the previous episode. I love quite a lot of old British comedy, actually. 70s and 80s in particular, I think I really, really enjoy. Do you like any heavy rock music, such as Iron Maiden, AC/DC, etc.? I listen to the odd song. I wouldn't really put on an album, no. Who are your top 3 celebrity crushes? Oh, do you know what? I don't know at the minute. I mean, Holly Willoughby's got to be up there. I do quite like Daisy Ridley. And then probably Scarlett Johansson as well. Or Elizabeth Olsen. Which celebrities do you hate?
You are a cunt. You are a cunt. Nobody likes you 'cause you are a cunt.
I think there's certain celebrities where I don't necessarily hate them, but they'll come out with the odd piece of crap where I'm just like, why? Just why? And I don't mean stuff that's like outlandish and crazy. I mean stuff where it's just so self-righteous and virtuous, and aren't they amazing? And I'm just like, go and fuck yourself. Which film and TV shows would you like to see remade? I'd love a Blake Seven remake. I really, really would. What are your thoughts on The Ark in Space, The Deadly Assassin, and The Talons of Weng-Chiang? I love The Ark in Space, and it is basically, you know, a precursor to Alien, which they ripped off from Doctor Who. Deadly Assassin I think is great. I understand the complaints about Gallifrey, but I really love it, and I personally really enjoy that version of the Master. I also like seeing the Doctor companionless. That's really fun. Talons of Weng-Chiang, I don't love it as much as other people do, and do you know what? This is probably the reason, and it is quite stupid, and it is a bit pedantic as to why I think this, but I think one of the reasons I don't enjoy it as much as I probably should is because Tom isn't wearing his scarf. I know that's really, really retarded, but I actually think that's one of the reasons why. You also mentioned here that if the yellow face parts keep me from enjoying it fully. That as well, but to be honest, when I was a kid, I didn't realise. I had no idea. But looking at it now, it is a bit, ooh. But it's strange because they do have genuine Asian actors in there, so I don't know why they couldn't have cast somebody Asian at that time. But I don't know, if that was the best guy for the job, then that was the best guy for the job. But it's a bit dodgy, isn't it? Are you looking forward to the Into the Spider-Verse movie? I am. The trailer came out the other day and it looks really, really good. I don't know who the older Spider-Man is. I don't know if that's supposed to be Peter Parker. And if it is, that's not a great version of Peter Parker. But I'm a big fan of Miles Morales, so I'm really glad that he's getting his own movie, even if it is animated. The animation style does look a bit weird. I don't know. It should be good. I'm looking forward to it. What's your opinion on the lost Doctor Who episodes? I'm pretty sure they're still lost. Do you like Grapefruit? Not a massive fan, no. Mario or Sonic? Oh, that is a tough one. I might have to edge towards Mario on that one. Do you like the Dreamcast? Not sure if I know what that is, to be totally honest with you. What's your opinion on the Doctor Who spin-off Class? Not to the person who asked the question, just to the idea of Class. What do you think about the 12th Doctor's speech in the Zygon inversion? I think it's overhyped now, but it's definitely a great speech. Which would you rather watch? The Time Monster or Hellbent? Hehehehe. Skull Crusher 430 or 430? You're a prick for asking that question. In all honesty, probably the Time Monster, just because we get Roger Delgado's Master and Unit and Pertwee and all that sort of stuff. There's literally nothing redeemable about Hellbent to me. Do you watch Rick and Morty or South Park? South Park, yes. Rick and Morty, really cannot get into. What's your opinion on VR if you have one? I don't have one. I have used it occasionally and I think it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes in the future. I don't think it's fully where it should be at the minute, but they keep going the way that they are, it's going to be something really, really cool in a few years. You haven't said much about my favourite show at the moment, Supergirl. I'd like to know what you think of it, and especially the direction the show has taken in the first 3 seasons. Don't worry, I won't be offended if you hate it. We're all different, and I love seeing your views, regardless of how they are different from mine. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having that view that you won't be offended and you can accept that people have different opinions, because usually on the internet, that isn't the case. But no, I really couldn't get into Supergirl. I watched the first season sporadically. I mainly watched it just because I knew the Flash episode was coming up. Then I watched season 2 all the way through because I knew Superman was going to be in it and Martian Manhunter. Again, I just didn't really like it, so I sort of gave up with it. But then again, I have with all the other CW DC shows at the minute. What would you say is the best episode / story out of Hellbent, End of Time, Silver Nemesis and Warriors of the Deep? I'm probably going to have to go with Silver Nemesis purely because they have Cybermen in it. That's it. What would you say to people going through exams right now? Depending on what sort of exams they are. I mean, if the GCSEs, don't panic as much as you think that you should, because I'm not saying that you shouldn't revise for them or whatnot, but they're not as important as people make them out to be. Anything further than that, then make sure you revise hard and that you know what you're doing. That's all I can say. Just make sure that you revise, and when you get into the actual exam, you won't have anything to worry about. What do you think life will be like in the 2050s? Well, I mean, I'll be freaking old, so not fun. I don't know, it's interesting because everybody has this idea that in the future it'll all be like flying cars and teleportation and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just take each day as it comes, to be honest. It's great to imagine, but if you imagine what the future will be and it doesn't end up like that, then you'll only be disappointed. But I mean, artificial intelligence, that's rapidly on the rise. The way that smartphone technology is incredible. So I don't know, it's an exciting time from a technological standpoint, but also absolutely terrifying as well. Are you going to finish the Pokemon Yellow walkthrough and do other Let's Plays? I am planning on doing other Let's Plays. I'm not going to say which game it is yet because I don't actually know. I haven't properly decided yet. But in terms of the Pokemon Yellow walkthrough, at some point I may revisit it, but like I mentioned before, it is a nightmare to do those videos. Like, actually filming the footage of the Pokemon game, that's fine, but it's just editing everything together and syncing everything up. It is so time consuming, and like I said before, not many people watched it, so if people want me to carry on with that series, then I will. I'll pick it up from where it left off, but at the minute I don't really have plans to do it again. Also, I asked to say some quotes in the Tom Baker impression, but you said you'll save it for a future video. When will that video happen? I'm glad you asked this, because I know it has been a while and I do apologise. However, that's going to be a special segment in the podcast, similar to how Honest Trailers do the guy at the end with the voice. I've got a segment called I Promise I'm Not Ripping Off Honest Trailers, where I basically read out quotes in Tom Baker's voice. So all the quotes that you left, they will be the first ones, and then after that people can send in other quotes for me to read out in Tom Baker's voice, if they want. Speaking of Fourth Doctor impression, how long did it take you to lock down your Fourth Doctor impression? That's an interesting one, because I don't really know. I remember when I started it because I was still in high school, but obviously my voice hadn't fully broke at that time, and I just sort of worked on it. So, I mean, I still work on it. I still listen to not just clips of him in Doctor Who, but clips of Tom Baker in interviews or public appearances and stuff like that, and Little Britain as well. So years. I don't think I'll ever master it though. I mean, Tom Baker is the ultimate, but I mean, it's my favourite impression to do. I always bring it out whenever I can. Even if people don't know, I'll just slip into that voice sometimes. Sometimes I don't even realise I'm doing it. Favourite Funko Pop figure? The Fourth Doctor one. I love that one. I don't actually have it though, which is depressing, but the favourite one that I actually have myself, because I've got a few up here, I would say this one, the Green Arrow. I really like this one, because this is a bit dusty, actually. Yeah, probably this Green Arrow one. I really enjoy it. I think it's from Arrow Season 4, which is ironic because I absolutely fucking loathe Arrow Season 4. But at some point I want to get the entire Justice League. I still need to, well, my own version of the Justice League. I still need to get a few more yet. Also, what did you have for dinner? I had some chicken and broccoli and something else. It's quite nice, to be fair. Thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy? I liked it a lot more than I thought I would, and the characters are actually pretty cool. I am going to probably look into getting some graphic novels of the Guardians as well. Thoughts on these Pokemon? Suicune. That's the one from Crystal on the cover, if I remember rightly. That's probably my favourite one out of the... Is it the Legendary Dog Trio? I think it's called. Yeah, it's my favourite one out of them. Torterra. I mean, that's from Generation 4, 5, is it? And I'm not really a massive fan of that generation as a whole, but it's alright. Infernape, again, that's not really from a generation that I was familiar with, so I don't really have any sort of feeling towards it. Staraptor, again, from a generation that I don't really care about. I mean, I love Starly. I do actually like Starly, because I remember catching one in X and Y, and then it evolved into that, and I just thought, the design sort of let it down a bit. Metagross, one of my favourite Gen 3 Pokemon, and I think probably my favourite pseudo-legendary Pokemon. I know a lot of people love Dragonite and Tyranitar, but I love Metagross. How the hell do I say this one? Zeraora? I don't know, I've never seen this Pokemon before in my life, although I assume it's from Sun and Moon, which I haven't actually completed yet, so spoilers for me, really, but I mean, it looks alright. What is your favourite Friends couple, excluding the friends dating each other? They all date each other. I don't know which... I don't really know. So I'm guessing Monica and Chandler, Ross and Rachel don't count. Well, I mean, that just leaves me with Phoebe and Mike. Although I do like Chandler with Janice. But I mean, my favourite overall couple from Friends is Chandler and Monica. What's your favourite book to film adaptation? Good question. I guess probably the Harry Potter movies, just because they're the ones that I'm the most familiar with. But I think the Hunger Games started off alright and then went down the pan. How many Doctor Who action figures do you own? I don't know the exact number. I remember, well, I mentioned this in the last one, I used to collect every single one, and then only the ones that I wanted after a certain point. I think after sort of series 6, but then I focused on the classic series stuff, so I want to guess around 120, that sort of number, I think. Do you like spaghetti? I adore spaghetti. It's the messiest thing to eat in the world, but it's great. So worth it. If you could design a TARDIS interior, what would it look like? Honestly, I'd have Capaldi's. Do you like Ed Sheeran? If so, what is your favourite song of his? Side note, you and him look alike. Yes, very good. I get that all the time. Favourite song of his, I quite like Sing. That's a good one. Do I like him though? Yeah, he's alright. He's a bit annoying though, in the sense that his music is played everywhere that you go. So for that reason, no, but the actual songs themselves are actually pretty good. And I like the guy himself. He seems really humble and down to earth. How do you feel about the lack of Series 11 news? Is it good that we're not getting spoilers, or bad that we have next to nothing to look forward to? Well, at the time of recording this, stuff is starting to come out now, but to be honest, I don't look into that stuff too much anyway. I never have. I've never really been interested. I don't really want to know what's coming up. But I mean, if I see stuff, I'm not arsed, really. Do you support or discourage Brexit? To be honest, I have no opinion on it, and I didn't vote in the referendum because I didn't really... At that time especially, I wasn't really interested in that sort of thing. Looking back at it now, I think maybe I would have said something on it, but the only thing that I will say is it's happening, so we have to support it, I guess. Whether or not it's the right thing, time will tell. And this is coming from somebody who genuinely does not have an opinion on whether or not we should have or should not have left the European Union. I hate them fuckers that are trying to get a second vote. I really, really am, because it's just like, people voted for it. If you didn't want it to happen, you should have voted. So instead of trying to, try and stop it, look, it's happened. Just deal with it. We all have to deal with it. Just do the best that you can to get behind it and see if we can make it as smooth as possible and see what happens in the future. Stop trying to, change the result and throw your toys out the pram because it didn't go the way that you wanted. I mean, I'm just a big believer in democracy, that's all. Can you get True Geordie on the podcast? I would really fucking love that. I would love the True Geordie on the podcast, but it's never going to happen, unfortunately. And if it ever does, then I will get a tattoo of Brian on my arse. How about that? People are going to bombard him with tweets now saying that Wingy Media, this YouTuber, will say I'll get a tattoo of your face on his arse. Jesus Christ. In a way, I kind of hope it doesn't happen now. Do you play Fortnite? I have. I'm not really an avid player of it though. Although it's kind of dying at the minute. But I mean, I was never really big on it. I'm not really big on that sort of games. I'm more a big fan of games with a story as opposed to just, battle royales, which is essentially what Fortnite is. I know it has other modes, but that's pretty much the only mode that people use. Do you like wrestling? If so, who's your favourite wrestler? Never have, and probably never will be interested in wrestling, to be honest. I just never, ever got into it. It doesn't really seem like something that interests me. What made you want to do YouTube? Boats and hoes, as well as a shit ton of money. All or none of that may be true. Oh, do you know what? I'd love a boat. I really would love a boat. What's your real job? I sell people boats and hoes. Or maybe it's social media. Who knows? What do you do other than YouTube? I sell boats and hoes. No, I'm not keeping this up. I mean, all sorts. Anything that a 23-year-old lad would. Go to the pub, watch the football, play Yu-Gi-Oh, meet up with my friends. And also look for boats and hoes. Why am I so obsessed with boats and hoes? I don't even know where that came from. In The Doctor Dances, the Doctor tells Rose that in the future humans are more flexible and go out to discover other species with the slogan, "So many species, so little time." When I first saw this, I was a lot younger and I assumed that it meant humans went around wiping out other species and planets, but I've realised that it could also mean, given the context, humans went around raping alien species. Has anyone else noticed this? And am I actually really thick? Or am I just really dirty-minded? I mean, maybe it's a mix of all of the above, to be honest. I never really picked up on that, and I don't really remember the line of the scene, to be honest. Usually I was too terrified and was hiding behind the sofa because there was a little kid with a gas mask running around chasing after my heroes. I don't know, maybe you have looked a little bit too deep into that, but I mean, people in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that's what it meant, that aliens were going out there raping other species? I don't know. Would you rather make a TV spin-off about Strax or a movie about Clara? You have to make one. Do I have to? Is there an option where I can blow my head off? Because I would genuinely pick that option. Actually, no. I will say this. I would rather have a TV series about Strax because you can see how he went from an actual Sontaran to this absolute buffoon. A brilliant thought popped into my head. Wouldn't that design in the thumbnail be great on a variety of hoodies? Oh, the thumbnail of the Future of Wingy Media video with the sort of weird cartoon version of me. I mean, I personally think that'd be cool, but I don't know if people would want merch off of me. I really don't know. I mean, if you do, let me know. I can just imagine one person being like, yeah, do it, and everyone else is like, no, don't fucking do that. And yeah, after 179 comments, it would appear, I have answered pretty much everything that I can see in the comment section, hopefully. Like I said at the start of the other video, if I didn't answer your question, it means that I've either answered it in a previous video or a different Q&A. I think some of the questions I did re-answer again because my mind is frazzled and I can't remember myself what I have and haven't answered. But yeah, that's going to be it for the Q&A then, guys. Thank you very, very much for one, being patient with me, and two, sending in all your questions and comments and whatnot. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good questions there, I have to say. I don't know when I'm going to do this sort of thing again. I really, really don't know. I mean, I am sort of going to get to work on other stuff. I'm currently writing scripts and I'm currently working on topics for the podcast and logistically how to do the podcast and other stuff like that. Fingers crossed, as long as things go to plan, should be a fun time on my channel soon. Hopefully it is already, but even more of a fun time. Yay! But yeah, thank you guys very, very much once again. Thank you very much for watching, and also, like I said, the collab video that I did with Nerdy Editor, go and drop him a sub and go and check out the video in the description below as well. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more and other stuff that I do on my channel, whatever. And also the other things that I mentioned, that if you want to see them, whether it's merch or Yu-Gi-Oh videos or Pokemon videos or any sort of video, drop me suggestions and I will take every single one of them on board. Some of them I might do, some of them I won't, but we'll have to wait and see. And if you did any of those things, I would love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye. I mean, I'm not answering it.